All right, we have talked about patterns and how to create patterns and what patterns are useful for. We're going to make a giant tie with some patterns on it. So you're going to have this big piece of paper. You're going to write your name and your teacher's name on the back. Then with a Sharpie on the front, you're going to line up this flat part with the top of your paper. You're going to hold down your tie so that you can trace the shape of the tie. Now, since this is a big paper, I have to kind of move my hand when I start tracing. Oops, and it accidentally went on the tie. That's okay. I'm still holding down my hand with one hand. And if it doesn't get exactly, oopsie, I did it again. That's okay. If it doesn't get exactly on the paper, that's all right. You just want the shape. And then this you don't need to use anymore. Now you're going to create some patterns with lines. So I am just going to make my Sharpie go across horizontally with some big sort of wide sections. I'm going to make maybe 5. That's 3, 4, 5. So I don't have real small sections. I want some big sections. Now we're going to make patterns inside of these. So I've cut up some squares, and you can kind of see there's lots of different squares in here. There's the primary colors and black. So you're going to take these squares and you're going to also use this glue. Remember, you twist this off and this sponge is soaked with glue. So I don't have to push too hard if I want to make these stick. So I'm going to think about what pattern do I want. I want a blue, red, blue pattern. So I'm going to look at that and I think that looks kind of nice. So I'm going to start gluing that down. Now what if I decide, well, maybe I want to cut these blue ones in half to make them triangles. Remember, we just cut them in half diagonally and then they are triangles. And I can make them even stay a triangle if I want, or I can make them into something like that. Maybe I want that to look like my pattern. Then you take your paper, push it down gently, and then put it on your tie for your pattern. This is a lot of fun because you get to decide what kind of patterns you want, what kind of patterns you think look nice. And the more time you have and the harder you work, the better these end up looking because you can add even more. Like if you get finished with all your sections, maybe you can go back and you can say, maybe I want some yellow in there. How can I make yellow part of my pattern? Maybe I can cut this in half and make it more of a rectangle and I can add that to some of my pattern. This one isn't a very long one because it's kind of the short part of the tie. Down here I might have more of a longer pattern. This one I've done a little bit more to it. And you can see I've kind of created some more of my patterns on this one. If I wanted to, maybe I want to create some more triangles. I cut my square in half diagonally. Maybe I can think about how to add that to my pattern. Ooh, I kind of think that looks nice if I put a triangle on top of my red, but this is too big because I'm covering up a lot of my square. So I'm going to cut my triangle in half again. You can see I'm just cutting it right to that point, so it's going to be a smaller triangle. This one I'm going to cut in half again, diagonally. Now I've got smaller triangles and I can add those to my pattern that I've already done. Oops. Push that down. There's a lot of glue on this sponge, so I don't have to push too hard on the sponge. And it gets the perfect amount of glue. And when I push it on my paper, I just kind of hold it there for a minute, and then it's nice and stuck. If I get glue on my fingers accidentally, I can just rub those together. Now that's looking like a really cool pattern. I really like that one. I've got a couple more to do, and then I'm going to do some across the top. If you want to make a circle, here's a really easy way to make a circle. Let me use a different one, this one. So all of these are cut into squares already. I'm just going to cut the corners in a curve. So I'm holding my scissors with my 2 fingers in one hole, my thumb in the other hole. I'm using kind of this part of the scissors, it's the V part. I'm just turning and cutting off the corner. And then when I turn it, it creates a circle. It's not a perfect circle, but that's okay. I might put that up there. Maybe I can save that. Ooh, I kind of like it way down there in the point. All right, and when it's time to clean up, all these small little pieces need to go in recycling. All your extra pieces I will collect and put those back for the next class.